Hello everybody and welcome to the Gyrocopter Flying Club, part 9 in our history of the gyroplane. In this film we look at activities in the 1970s. A very influential gyroplane designer with a legacy that is still alive today is Jukka Tervamäki from Finland. Interested in gyroplanes by stories of Benson gyrogliders in the 50s, in 1958 he built what he called the JT-1 gyroglider. He then designed and built his first complete aircraft, the ATE-3, in 1968. The airframe was welded steel tube, but rotors, prop, cockpit and the tail were all glass fibre. The cockpit copied from a finished glider design, the engine a modified 1700cc Volkswagen motor. You will notice that the aircraft has a horizontal tailplane, and he was very vocal advocate of flight safety, more of which we'll talk about in a later film. His next aircraft, the JT-5, came in 1970 with a fully enclosed blown cockpit. The landing gear was glass reinforced epoxy, which was quite innovative of the time. The engine, a brand new 1700cc Volkswagen engine from Limbach in Germany. The JT-5 flew well and was fast 165 km VNE. In 1974 he sold the machine and all production rights to Vittorio Magni of Italy. Campbell Aircraft had gone from boom to bust, losing their Benson franchise apparently due to them passing off Benson plans as their own and thus avoiding royalty payments. They engaged Peter Lovegrove to license and build the Cricket, so as to use up stocks of tubing and parts that would no longer be sold as Bensons. The Cricket had been an exciting prospect because not only was it powered by the en vogue VW 1600cc four-stroke motor, but it had a glass fibre nacelle, streamlining, and initially it did sell well. But due to the accident-driven downturn in the market, they ceased activity in 1971. Just prior, however, the company had started design of a two-seat aircraft, the Curlew. It looked like a British McCulloch J2 with side-by-side seating, twin tail booms, and originally to be powered by a 125 horsepower Mercury outboard motor. A mock-up, which is pictured, was displayed at the 1969 Paris Air Show, but the project was abandoned in March 1970. With production stopped and management changing, Campbell proceeded with a new design for a two-seater, the Cougar, in 1972. Testing of the Cougar continued until early 1974, when the project was completely abandoned. In 1978, it was donated to the Helicopter Museum in Britain following a period of storage. In 1975, with the company reorganised, it pursued a new Cricket design that they dubbed the Super Cricket, an improved version of the Cricket powered by a 2-litre Volkswagen Flat 4 engine. The prototype was flown in air shows for publicity, but prospects for the Super Cricket dimmed with a crash in September 1978 at the Abingdon Battle of Britain display. By then, Campbell director Curzon Herrick had lost interest in the company. He'd become involved with a religious cult from India, and the Campbell company closed its doors for good. Californian Jerry Barnett built the J3, J4 gyroplane for home builders in the late 1960s with Continental C65 or C85 motors. Called the J4B gyroplane with the bigger engine installed, its cruising speed had been increased from 70 to 90 miles an hour, and with 12 gallons of fuel, its range had been stretched to 250 miles. Ken Brock was the West Coast Benson dealer, and in his machine shop he made and sold accessories for gyroplanes, most notably a plastic combination seat fuel tank. And in the 1970s, these modification activities caused tension with Benson, and he stopped being a Benson dealer and began manufacturing his own kit gyroplanes. The KB2 featured all metal rotors and either VW or McCulloch power. It also had a conventional stick and the combination seat fuel tank, which improved balance and packaging. Ultimately, Ken Brock would become president of the PRA, taking on the role from Benson. Finally, the Bannock Model T copter of Lester Bannock in 1964. It was a design similar to Benson's Gyrocopter, but with a 65 horsepower Lycoming motor, and to improve balance, it had a large fuel tank mounted on the rotor mast, and it featured a conventional centre stick. If you'd enjoyed this film, please remember to subscribe to the channel, and in our next film we move to the 1980s, where gyroplanes became popular again as enough time had passed and people had forgotten about the dangers.